Definite assignment. C# implements a strict policy regarding definite assignment. This policy ensures that, except within unsafe or interrupt contexts, accessing uninitialized memory by accident is impossible. Definite assignment has three major points. First, local variables must be assigned a value before they can be accessed. What it means that if I create a variable, let's say int y, and I'm not going to give it any value, and I'll try to access that variable, and I'll get a compile time error, which is use of unassigned local variable. If you create a local variable, as I did here, then you have to assign a value for that variable. Let me comment out this code, and we can move on to the second point, which is function arguments must be provided when invoking a method, unless they are marked as optional. What it means that if I create a function, if it has parameters, then I'll have to always fill them. Let me give you an example. Let's say public static void, and let's call a function print message. Let me just pass here a few parameters. First is string, and that will be message. That is a required parameter. Second parameter will be console color. Console color, and that will be color. We will call it the variable color, and we will make this parameter as optional. We will do console color dot white. So if we don't pass any argument, then it will be by default white. And also I want to make another variable. It's called bool emphasize. That will be emphasize variable. I'll give it a default of false. So if it's false, we won't emphasize anything. So let's do console foreground color, and that will be whatever color we pass into this function. Then we will do if emphasize is true, then we want to console.writeLine, and we want to emphasize that message. So that will be, let's do any emphasis here, and let's pass the message here as well. That is a message. Okay, now let's do else. And if it's not emphasized, if emphasize is false, then we won't just print the message without any additional string attached. Okay, and then we want to console reset color. That is okay. So we created a function, and let's see how it works. Let's do print message, and let's pass a message. Let's say good morning. Let's do without any arguments. Okay, so we do .NET run. That will be good morning. And as we didn't pass anything, but we have a default values for the second parameter and third parameter, it just went to the color. It's white, and then emphasis is false. It's not emphasizing anything. It just goes straight to the else condition and outputs the message on the console. So that's how it works right now. Now, if I try to print a message, let's say good afternoon. Very simple. Keep it very simple. Console.color, and let's do, I don't know, maybe dark magenta. And let's do true. I want to emphasize that message. Let's say, again, we run the command .NET run, and now we see on the output there is first, which is good morning. It's not emphasis or anything. And the second call for the function, it outputs dark magenta color. As you see, it's dark magenta, and true. That's emphasizing the message. Okay, let's do another print message. Let's say good evening. Let's say color, console color, let's say dark yellow, and true. Okay, let's emphasize it again. .NET run. Okay, now we have without emphasizing and magenta color and dark yellow color. But now let's try to run this function without any arguments. Print message, and we're trying to run it without any arguments, and it gives us the exact error. There is no argument given that corresponds to the required parameter message of our program. That's why this is the second point. Function arguments must be provided when invoking a method. If it's not, marked as optional. And that message is not marked as optional, so we have to pass something, even an empty string. Okay, so that's the second point. And we'll go straight to the third point. Let me comment out our previous calls for a print message. Okay, good. Let's go to the third example, which is the runtime. Let's make another color. Yeah, let's do this, or even dark magenta. The runtime automatically initializes all other variables, including fields and array elements. What that means? Okay, let's create an array. Int, let's call it numbers. And then we give it a new int of 5 elements. Let's allocate 5 elements on the heap. And let's try to access the first element. So we do numbers. First element is under index of 0. Let me just do straight console, right line, numbers, 0. Okay, let's run it. The runtime automatically initializes all other variables, including array elements. So we can access any of those 5 elements. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like this way. All of them can be accessed. Numbers 1. I'll do numbers 2 just to show you. Numbers 2, numbers 3, and up to 5. We can do it up to 5. All of them will be initialized as we see the arrays also pre-initialized. Let's check our fields if we create a class. Let's create a class. So public class, let's call it person. Very simple. We're keeping it very simple. And we give it static. Start with public static integer age. So we created a field for person, and that is a static field. Let me comment out this array example. Let's try to access the field of called age. Okay, I do console.writeLine person. Because it's a static field, I can just access it without initialization of that person object. And we can do .NET Run. All right, so we get 0. And as you see, I haven't provided any value for this integer. It's already pre-initialized by runtime, as I wrote here. Okay, let's try to make this field not static, but just a regular field. And let's try to create a person var person equals new person. And let's try to access that field as well. So we do person.age. And let me clear that console so it's very clear what we're doing here. .NET Run, and it gives us the same result. So it's 0. If we try to access, even it's not a static field as we see. We instantiated the object person, and we're trying to access the age field, which is not initialized by default as a local variables as we see. It's not initialized here, but the runtime helps us to give for this age field. It gives us the 0 value. It's pre-initialized for us. Okay, that's all I have to say about definite assignment.